Hi, this is Laura Rogers, and today I'm going to talk to you about showing column totals for calculated columns in SharePoint, which can't be done out of the box. We're going to use a Data View web part. So let me explain the scenario first of all. So I have this list of budget information. It's just a custom list in SharePoint. I've got employees, travel, and resources. And then I have these two calculated columns, total and per employee. So I'm going to go to the list settings and show you. So the total is resources plus travel, and then the per employee column is the total divided by the number of employees. So it shows you sort of a total amount of money that's spent per employee of the department. So, and then here's the regular list view of this information. So in a regular list view, we know that we can put totals in the view settings on columns here. So in the total section, we could do sums here. So sum employees, resources, and travel, but you'll notice that those two calculated columns are not listed. We can't do that out of the box. So as you can see, I was able to put these three sums in this view, but in order to do sums for these calculated columns, we're going to need to create a Data View web part. So I'll show you real quick how to do that. So I'm going to create a Data View web part in a web part page. And I'm going to put this in a document library I've created called web part pages. And now I'm going to go open this web part page in SharePoint Designer. So I'm going to refresh this web part pages library and open this new blank web part page. So here's just my blank page. I'm going to insert a web part, insert a Data View web part, and then here's my list of lists on the site. I'm going to go to my budgets list. So I've got my department, the number of employees in it, travel, resources, and then the total, and then per employee of those two calculated columns. So let me show you what this looks like when we try it. So I'm going to insert these as a multiple item view. And then you'll see that the two calculated columns, just nothing came in at all. So that's how it works by default. They just don't come in. So let me show you how to create these. Okay, do this again. Department, employees. I'm holding the control key down as I'm selecting these. Travel and resources. I'm going to insert just those fields. And then I'm going to go and insert new calculated columns this way. We're going to do the calculation in the Data View web part. So edit columns, and I can scroll down on the left and do add a formula column. And this is where I can create the formula here, and then the calculated information will display in the Data View web part. So I have my travel plus resources is what the calculation is. And you can see in this preview section down at the bottom, it's actually showing me what those numbers are going to be. So I can see as I'm creating my formula if it's going to end up correctly. Click OK, and you can see that it's got the information in the column. All I have to do is rename it. So I can call this total. All right, now I'm going to insert another column. And call this, see, this one's going to be the one that's per employee. So this one's going to be the resources plus the travel. And then we're going to take that information and divide it by the number of employees. So let's see, divided, we have to use this div. So div employees. So you can see at the bottom, my formula is correct because it's showing me a preview of all these numbers, and these numbers are correct. So then I click OK, and now I've got my new column. I can call this per employee. Okay, now these formats are a little messed up for the way these numbers are showing. So I can just change the formatting by clicking the little chevron next to each of these. So I can change this to currency. I don't want to show any decimal places. Change this one to currency, etc. Okay, so now quickly we see that the information displays correctly. Now the next step is to add that sum row. We're going to add that at the bottom. So we're going to go into the data view properties and click to show the column summary row. Now by default, this only shows a count in one column, but it does give me all these empty columns to go create my sums. Now, I'm not a developer, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so we're actually going to have to delve into a little bit of code to get this to look the way we want to. So, but this is the only way to do it, to be able to display the those totals for calculated columns. So the next step here is to go ahead and go into split view, which will show us the code and the design page. So I've got it split in half. And now I can look at the calculations, the syntax of the formulas behind the scenes in these cells. So I'm going to go ahead and take this count calculation and paste it over into this next column for employees, and I'm going to edit that to use to make the total calculation for employees. And then I'm going to use the same syntax across. And then it just gets a little bit more complicated for those last two columns. So, okay, so here I'm going to edit this formula to make this a total of all the employees instead of a count of the rows in the list. So I type sum, and then rows, let's see. And it's important to make sure these are case sensitive to the exact case that was used when you were creating these fields. So, and I can go look at any of the data inside these fields that already exist to see what the correct case is. Anyway, so now you can see at the bottom of this form that I have the correct number, 34, for my number of employees. And by default, it's kind of gray, so at the end we'll be able to go in and modify the formatting. But it does say 34 down there. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it, and then I'm just going to change the syntax to make it show the sum of the travel here. All right, and then as soon as I click back into the design view, now I see my sum of travel, and I can go change, let's see, let me scroll down a little bit so you can see, and go change the format of this to currency. Okay, so now we have the correct travel total here. I can take this field and copy it over here, and then this one's going to be called resources. And then here's where it gets complicated, because now we actually have to do the calculation again and have a sum of that calculation. So the calculation is travel plus resources. So we're going to go ahead and copy this, paste it, and then edit that. All right, so I've selected this total that I copied, and I'm going to say sum of the resources plus sum of the travel, again with correct case. And now you can see that I have the correct total here at the bottom of the column. So then the per employee one is similarly complicated. So I'm just going to copy this other one and paste it into the next cell. And this one has to have that division in it too. Remember that? So I'm going to go look at that. I can go look at my calculation. Right click on this item here and go edit formula to go see what that formula was. So it's resources plus travel divided by employees. So now I can do that same thing inside of this summary. So sum of resources plus sum of travel divided by employees. Math. Divided by the sum of employees. it worked. Okay, so so I wanted this to be a quick webcast. All right, so now, this is the this was the other test list that I did before I did the screencast, and these are the totals, the way they will look in the DataView web part. Thank you.